Right, guys, massive game. 12:30. Not the time I was expecting. Man City against Liverpool. Always a huge match. Slightly disappointing for Liverpool. I would imagine as a Liverpool fan, you would imagine that this would be, that 4:30 on a Sunday because they're both going for the title. Very different, of course. But Liverpool are sort of getting up off their feet. Have not got anything else to focus on, just the league now. How are you feeling about Liverpool broadly before we dive into the game itself?
Most people have come into this realisation it's like a transitional season, do you want to say? Or at least that's the way they've rationalised it. And therefore you get a couple of these nice results. So you get the Manchester United result where they come out and surprise you, all those kind of things. But broadly, people are disappointed. And I think that still hangs over the club a little bit. And there is this element of, what is changing? If we don't get a Bellingham or someone like that, who are we going to get? Who's on the outs? There's multiple players who've been spoken about as they could probably leave this summer. We wouldn't miss them, or we would feel like, oh yeah, well, thanks for that sort of thing. So there's a lot of change at the club, which it's double-edged sword, right? Because one way it's like, hey, this is Firmino's last game against Man City. He did the same against Manchester United, comes on, scores a goal. There's moments like that. On the other side of it, it's like, could it be a Man City 4-1 like they've had in previous years where we've just been down on luck? It's at City as well. So
we were talking about Arsenal, and you said that we've kind of all been waiting for Arsenal to trip up, and it's just not happened. It feels like with Liverpool, it's kind of been the other way around, because I kind of, even about a month ago, I was thinking, I think that I can see what happens here. They kind of, the expectations drop, and then they start to go on a run. But then that Bournemouth game happens, and you're like, what's kind of going on here? I mean, again, look, you miss a penalty in that game, but it does feel like with Liverpool, we're waiting for them to kick into gear. Yeah. These next few games for them are very, very difficult. Does it need to happen now? And is that sort of false dawn that's just going to continue to keep happening?
This is the best time to get it going for Liverpool, because there's not much time.
Do they have the tools to get it going?
I think they do, and they've got the manager, and this is a side that were on the brink of winning the quadruple last season. As a Chelsea fan, I'm not the biggest fan of Liverpool, but I'm a big fan of the way that Klopp has played football in this country over the last 4 or 5 years. And until it's mathematically impossible, I'm gonna back Liverpool to finish the top 4. I've seen this team a couple of seasons ago look out of it. Alisson scores a header at the Hawthorns, and all of a sudden they go on a run. This could be the game. This could be the game that triggers that good form for Liverpool. They've beaten Man City twice this season. Granted, one of them was a Community Shield game, but they beat them at Anfield, and they played very, very well in that game when Haaland was on the complete roll. So Liverpool versus Man City, it's really take your pick. They both come out to play football, and I think it's very rare in the Premier League that happens now, where both of the teams come pre-agree to just play football, and whatever happens, happens. And I don't rule out Liverpool getting the result against Man City, especially in these early kickoffs, 12:30. It's a bit skew. Weird things happen in 12:30 kickoffs.
We don't love those, though.
Yeah,
we hate.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah.
Well, that's you were saying before we started recording. That's a thing, is it?
Yeah,
I think so.
Right.
Yeah,
that's not a fraud. Every fan hates it. Do you think that's a Liverpool thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in previous seasons, obviously, you know, when they're going for the quadruple and stuff like that, it's slightly different.
He got angry with Jurgen got angry with Des Kelly, didn't he? Once after one of those. That was it. Brighton. Yeah.
12:30s just aren't play, especially for these big games. You're like, that's a great way to kick off the weekend, and I'm sure.
But away from home, does that become an advantage for Liverpool?
What do you mean? As in they just put pressure on?
I think if you're at Anfield, I think you want a game at 3 p.m. You don't want a game at 12:30 because that, people can say say whatever they want about it. That crowd's always great.
Daylight savings, though, you want the 5:30 kickoffs, not the 3 p.m.s anymore.
Sure, yeah. But when it comes to a game away where you are the underdog, which Liverpool are the underdog in this game, you're trying to disrupt, you're trying to quieten, and 12:30 is a great time for that.
Yeah, I get that. And I also think, with Liverpool, like you say, with Liverpool being away, they've had the Erling Haaland experience now, shall we say, and that'll probably have given them a bit of confidence. I personally think Liverpool have had so many different test formations this season. Pep Guardiola might psych himself out a little bit in this and sort of go, what are they going to play? What are they going to do against me? You've seen them in the Community Shield, different formations to the way that they played them then at Anfield. And it seems a lot less like positional sense for Liverpool is important in this game. It's much more about how the team fusion, how the team is coming together. So I'd be interested to see how a Cody Gakpo plays, how he links up with a Mo Salah, how centrally Mo Salah, someone like that, plays. Because it's going to be about Liverpool pulling that Man City side around and making them feel a bit uncomfortable.
The big question mark, I think, is the midfield three for Liverpool, because when we talk about the tools to do it, and also this fixture specifically, what's been so wonderful about it is that it almost feels like you're playing in fast forward. And also, I think there's so many games of football now where one team, it's like the pitch is like that.
Yeah.
Especially Man City games. And the Liverpool Man City game is one of the few games where they go bosh, and they just sort of go into each other and go for it.
Yeah.
That said, I thought it was a proactive approach in the great victory, the 1-0 victory. But they didn't go totally toe-to-toe with them. They played somewhat, cautiously. Milner came in for Trent on that game. Trent came on as a substitute in the 90th minute. Joe Gomez alongside him had an absolutely fantastic game. The midfield three was interesting. Thiago Alcantara was available for that one, won't be for this one. But up top, it was Salah almost being that out ball. It's almost like how he plays for kind of Egypt a little bit. Firmino played in that one. Jota played on the left-hand side, was very, very smart in his sort of pressing of when to go. And Harvey Elliott was crucial on the right-hand side. So do you think they would refer to that? Because talking about what you're saying there in terms of Guardiola and what would he outpsych himself? Or psych himself out even. Is it one where there actually is a bit of a blueprint there because Liverpool can't go toe-to-toe because they don't have the midfield anymore?
This is probably the one instance where Liverpool don't feel like they can go toe-to-toe with Man City, but I think they're going to try anyway. I just think that when... I do think that when these games happen, I know it was a little bit more conservative when they met at Anfield and Liverpool got the result. I think that was more fear of Erling Haaland. That was when he's really in his pump. But
did he score though?
He didn't score. And that's credit to Liverpool. And I think Gomez started alongside Virgil van Dijk and had a really good game, contained Haaland and didn't really give him a sniff. I think when they get onto the pitch though, Liverpool against Man City, they can't help themselves. And I feel like we're going to see a very, very exciting game. We very, very rarely see a boring game between these two. And I would not be surprised if Liverpool gets something out of it.
So who's that midfield three for you?
Fabinho's definitely in there because they don't really have another player that can play that role at this point. I'd say Hendo has to be one of those, purely based on the fact that I think you need some form of control and communication out there that other players seem to lack. There's also seems to be a lack of, I guess, just organisation when he's on the side.
Did you say Fabinho or Firmino?
Fabinho, sorry.
Fabinho,
yeah. I probably wouldn't end up playing Firmino as a starter in this game just because I think they want Cody Gakpo to be that kind of player now for Liverpool to hook up the play. There is an argument you could just go with that 2 and not go for a 3 and have some of the Liverpool players dropping a little bit deeper and it becomes a bit more counter-attack on them, just very deep and spring.
I think that's the answer.
I personally do think that's the answer, and I also can't, with Bajcetic injured, with Thiago injured, or your left side would naturally be a bit weaker just in terms of the foot they can play on. Why not do that?
Yeah.
Congest it with a 2. Also, then you've kind of got that box that everyone's a bit obsessed with in the Premier League right now. Play that a little bit deeper. You know that if you've got Hendo and Fabinho, they're going to try to contain the Erling Haaland types and people who are coming into the edge of the box there. And you also know that you've got someone who's going to drop a little bit deeper in your Gakpos and your Nunez's and even your Salahs. Then maybe one of them can sit on a De Bruyne or someone like that and see what they do.
I think it's copy and paste.
Yeah.
I really do. I think you've got, because also a game like this, the tempo is going to be electric. And what I thought was so great was in that game, they did have, it was more sort of a bit of a sort of shadow press, more so than like just get at them and man to man. It was stop the passes, stop the ball into De Bruyne, and otherwise actually drop a lot deeper than they normally do. So I think Fabinho and Henderson, I think Firmino use that experience. I wonder if it's one where the likes of Gakpo and Nunez, it might be one where those are great subs to bring on if you can kind of contain them a little bit. Have Salah as an out ball who can hurt the opposition as well. And look, we haven't spoken about Man City too much. They've gone 4-3-3. They've gone 4-2-3-1 at times. They've gone with 3 at the back as well.
The 3-2-5 does seem to be fairly trendy in the league at the moment as well. I just wonder whether Pep will congest it a bit, and he'll probably go for the 2. Probably for Ake back there. So it's not. That's more or less 3 centre backs there.
I think they'll have control, and if I was them, I think you're looking to be switched onto that ball to Salah. But otherwise, I think they need to. You're right. He might just overthink it and tweak it a little bit and try something unnecessarily.
I don't hate the matchups.
You take the matchups all across the pitch. That's why I think Liverpool can get something out of this game, because as great as Man City are, the matchups across the field, they're not too in their favour. And I think Liverpool are dangerous. If Darwin Núñez is fit, and I know he's come back from injury, he has to play. For me, next season we're going to really see what he is. he needs to play because he can cause damage to no matter what team you're playing against, and no matter how you set up your team, whether it's 3 at the back or 5 at the back. Darwin Núñez is the problem, and he has to start. But I think elsewhere on the pitch, most Salah, of course, we've seen him have incredible games against Man City in the past. I like it for Liverpool. I think there's an opportunity to go and get something from this game.
4-0 City now then.
yeah. I would say Jota. I would like Jota in this game because I think his intelligence, positionally, a bit more drilled down with the team as well. In a game like this, I would go back to that.
It's also what he adds to the kind of the deeper version of what Liverpool want to do, and I think that's where so many people look at him going forward. They see a lot of misplaced passes, they see a lot of frustrating decisions that he's made because he does look like he's stuttering sometimes going forward. There is the chat about him not having scored since ridiculous dates and all these kind of things. That's not why Klopp likes him. That's not why Pep Lingers likes him. They like him because of what he does for the system.
He's been injured as well.
And he's been injured for quite a period of that.
Yeah.
But even taking the injury out of it, people didn't appreciate Jota before that anyway because he's just on a good run of form. If you watch Liverpool week in, week out, you know what Jota adds. And you also know if they are going to play that too, Jota might be that guy to go to.
Okay, so 4-0 Man City you're going with?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go on, reverse psychology.
I love what you two said in terms of Pep.
Thank you
so much.
Yeah, it's great analysis.
Pep overthinking it, and he did that in the first game, and it kind of was a little bit. It was a 4 at the back, but it switched to 3.
And Cancelo's almost playing like a right winger.
I wonder what they'll do with Cancelo in this game.
Phil Foden was playing as a left wing back at points against Liverpool at Anfield, and I think Pep will overthink it. I want to pick Liverpool to win it, but I think Man City will have enough to get a draw. I think it'll be 1-1 draw.
Is a draw for Liverpool is as good as going 12 rounds. They still get, technically, it's not as good as a win. They get the points by decision. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
But with that, you've landed a punch that means that they might not win the title.
Yeah, I think certainly. I think a draw is a good shout. You spoke about Foden there. Foden might miss this one. Haaland as well pulled out that Norway squad. You would imagine. I'd be amazed if Haaland's not playing.
He also took a trip to Barcelona in that time to go and see a doctor. So I'd be surprised if he's not. Well, no, I'm just saying during the international break, it's a good time to go and see a doctor. But the point is, he's gone in that time to go and see a specialist for what he actually wants to achieve. So, if he isn't back, I'll be very surprised.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I think Man City will sneak it 2-1.
So a draw 2-1.
It's a 2-1 draw.
Yeah.
Guys, what do you think? Let us know. Put your predictions down in the comments down below.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.